All right, it's 5:30, so I'll call this meeting to order. Kelly, would you please roll call?
Collins,
Here.
Grennan,
Here.
Merle,
Here.
Neese, here, Topler.
Here. All right. Would you please stand? Dear God, as we gather this evening, we ask you influence our hearts and minds so that we govern this city fairly and justly. We thank you for the many blessings you have bestowed on our community. And we ask for your continued protection upon our city staff and crews. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right.
Okay, on to the consent agenda, which includes the approval of minutes for the September 15, 2025 regular meeting and work session, surplus vehicles of a 2011 Ford F-550 and a 1998 Ford Econoline.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Is there any public input on a consent agenda? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. All right.
On to resolutions. Resolution 2025-20, a resolution of the City of West Plains, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to execute a parking lot lease agreement with West Plains R7 School District.
Motion to approve resolution 2025-20.
I'll second.
Sam?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, council members. This resolution approves an agreement between the school district and the city to allow the school district to let its students and staff potentially park on the lot that's just immediately north of the Jimmy Carroll Sports Complex. They reached out to us after we took possession of that lot, once they saw some of their students start parking there. And they just wanted to make sure that they could potentially enforce those rules that they have for student permit holders for parking passes. So their attorney worked on drafting this agreement. We sent it to our city attorney to review as well. What you have before you has been reviewed and vetted by both. Happy to answer any questions.
Is there any public input on resolution 2025-12?
20.
20, yeah. Wow. I went back a month or so. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right.
Resolution 2025-21, a resolution of the City of West Plains, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to execute an intergovernmental cost share agreement between the City of West Plains and Howell County for the improvement of a portion of County Road 1770 in Howell County, Missouri.
Motion to approve resolution 2025-21.
I'll second.
Hey, take this one as well. This agreement helps recover some of the costs that the county spent improving County Road 1770. The purpose for the city's involvement is that road serves as access to our solar farm. So the county, in response to some complaints that they'd received from some neighbors several years ago, reached out to the city about potentially sharing of the cost of making those improvements. Those improvements have been made, so I need council's approval to participate in this cost share agreement. I'd also point out that Evergy, the company that manages the solar farm for us, is going to pick up some of this cost. So working out the details on how they will make arrangements to pay for their portion of it. But this allows us to go ahead and contribute a portion of our funds to help them for that. It might be a one-time ask as well. So any future improvements will be the responsibility of the county.
I have driven out that way and it made a huge improvement. Okay. No questions? Is there any public input on resolution 2025-21? All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay. All right, it passed.
Resolution 2025-22, a resolution of the City of West Plains, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to execute a contract with Hunden Partners for a feasibility study to determine the viability of an indoor sports complex for the City of West Plains.
Motion to approve resolution 2025-22.
I'll second.
Hello, Todd.
Good evening, everybody. How are you?
Great. You didn't get the memo about.
That's right, I didn't. I'm sorry about that. So for some additional context on this resolution, in the city's comprehensive plan, at the very top of the community's wish list was the construction of a new multi-use sports facility. So in response, we advertised for RFPs on August 29th from qualified firms who could deliver a comprehensive feasibility study to determine if such a facility is viable for West Plains. Hunden Partners out of Illinois scored the highest. Hunden Partners, they have done over 1,000 feasibility studies for economic development, for tourism, for sports facility purposes. We were very impressed, obviously, with their experience. They also partner with Convergence Design, which is out of Kansas City. Convergence has worked with Hunden on projects in Branson and also Joplin. We were impressed with Hunden's, obviously, their experience. They had competitive pricing and their references checked out very well. So if approved, they would kick off the project November 3rd. The scope of their work would include a stakeholder engagement, a market and needs assessment, site analysis for potential locations, conceptual designs, approximate construction and operational costs, economic and tourism impact analysis, and then a final report would be delivered to us on February 13th. Do you have any questions?
I just know, since it was comprehensive plan, right, was right top of the thing, and I think it's important that we know what we're really looking at as far as costs and everything. I know can't do the $200 million that Branson's doing, but maybe we can get a good West Plains version out of this. So,
Well, this study it's a tool.
Yeah.
It's a third-party objective tool to allow us to make an informed, educated decision on a project of this size. So we're very optimistic. We got some really good results from our RFP from that advertisement, and we feel very confident that Hunden can deliver.
yeah, and I appreciate that they're going to reach out to. We'll probably be holding some public
Correct.
meetings on this to get the input of everyone. So that's good plan. Any other discussion?
Got a question. How many studies have they done that's similar to ours, where the results was it wouldn't be feasible to do that?
So Johnny, that's a very good question. So based on our research of Hunden and talking to them, they have completed over 1,000 similar studies. Now, how many of those were the results that you mentioned? I don't know, unfortunately, but I do know that based on this study, they're going to determine what should we build, what can we build, and should we build it. So we should get that out of the study.
Have you contacted any of the previous communities that had that same type of a study done to see if they follow through with a project like that? Have the results been what the people doing the study had thought it would be?
We did. So we checked all of their references. And in fact, one of the references, I'm not sure of the city, but they refer to them as their North Star on their project. So I took that as a very good sign.
I think the feasibility part of it is once we get a price tag and we put it out to the, public, their input, that's what's going to determine if it's feasible or not. If we're willing, if the citizens are willing to pay for it, that's what it comes down to. But at least we want to be able to offer the right amount that it's going to cost when the time comes.
And really, the impetus for this study is obviously we do our indoor sports at Jimmy Carroll Sports Complex. We are severely limited on space, as everybody knows. We pretty much run adult and youth leagues out of that facility. So we're looking at two courts that are striped for basketball, for pickleball, for volleyball, open gym, We have pickleball open gym. So a couple years ago, we had to cap our registration just because we're out of space. So a larger facility obviously would be beneficial, just allow us to be able to grow our programs, offer more sports. Of course, it would be beneficial for the athletic and just for those coming to the games for their enjoyment, a bigger facility with more parking. And so also too, I mean, this would be truly a community recreational facility. More in line with a community center.
Yeah.
So.
No more questions? Is there any public input on resolution 2025-22? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, thank you.
Onto ordinances. Bill 4807, first reading, an ordinance of the city of West Plains approving the adoption of the budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2026.
Motion to consider Bill 4807 first reading.
I'll second.
Seems like we just did this a
We
year
just did
ago.
this a year ago,
Yeah,
and here we are. As many of you probably remember, we had our work session on the budget back on September 15th. We discussed all of the different items that are in the budget, or a significant majority of them at any rate, all the big ticket items that are going to be either one-time or brand new projects that are coming online next year. The only change that was made from the proposed budget in September is that we had missed an IT server that we thought was part of one project, we thought was looped in as part of the cost of that project, was not actually included in that cost. So we've added 37,000 in expense, approximately 37,000 in expense to the capital projects fund. Other than that, there have been no changes. Last week, we did get numbers back on our health insurance renewal, which is looking like it might come in at 6%. We had budgeted 10%. So that's a really great, number to get back for health insurance. Our total revenues for next year, this is all in all the city funds, is about 55.5 million. And total expenses for next year are estimated at 60.2 million. Any questions I can answer for you?
I would be bringing residuals from this year forward to pay for the difference.
Yep, absolutely. Mhm.
any other questions? Is there any public input on bill 4807? Okay. Kelly?
Collins,
Yes.
Grennan,
Yes.
Merle,
Yes.
Nice,
Yes.
Topliff.
Yes.
Bill 4808, first reading, an ordinance approving the adoption of the tax increment financing TIF number 2 budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2026.
Motion to consider Bill 4808 first reading.
Second.
It's me again, Margaret. So again, just like with the last ordinance, we've got a few of them tonight that are kind of budget related. So this one is for the only remaining TIF fund that we have. All of the money that's received, it's generally sales tax and some property tax that's received for this TIF. All of that money goes toward paying down the infrastructure basically that was put in place for this item. So all of that money passes through to the SID that is related to this TIF, and they spend it appropriately.
Do you by chance know the maturity date on this tip?
I should have looked it up. It is coming up in the next 2 or 3 years, I think.
Okay,
Don't quote me on it, but we're getting closer.
okay.
I know that.
Well, I know we've successfully,
Yeah.
aged a few out. and
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah, well, and this one is still active and actually seems
They're-
to be
they're
taking
doing
care of
some things.
business.
Yeah, they're taking
Yes.
care of some things. so,
Yep.
Okay, appreciate that.
You bet.
Any questions? Is there any public input on bill 4808? Okay, Kelly?
Collins,
Yes.
Grennan,
Yes.
Merle,
Yes.
Nice,
Yes.
Topliff.
Yes.
Bill 4809, first reading, an ordinance increasing electric rates for customers of the city of West Plains, Missouri.
Motion to consider Bill 4809 first reading.
I'll second.
So utility rate increases this year, as we discussed during the budget work session last month on September 15th. A lot of these rate increases are related to the cost of the operation. So the cost of the personnel, the cost of the electric that we are purchasing on the market, as well as the contracts that we have in place for our power purchase agreements, the capital that we have in place, as well as paying down some of the loan that we had to take out this year in order to cover the generator rebuild at the top of the hill. So the rate increase for next year is proposed to be 5%. We did not, I'll just go ahead and go through all 4 of the utilities at once. So electric is proposed to be 5%. The water and the sewer rates will remain the same at 0% increase. And then the sanitation rates are proposed to be increased 4%. Are there any questions I can answer for you?
Will the rates cease to not increase?
Well, it depends on when we'll probably cease to see increases to the amount that it costs to provide the service. So I was gonna say, we have done what we can this year as far as trying to be fiscally prudent. As many of you saw in our budget, we are running this fund to as close to zero as I feel comfortable, and it is really close to zero. We are using up all the reserves that we have in order to offset the amount of the rate increase to the customers. That is not generally a smart thing to do fiscally. It's just not, but we're not seeing any big capital projects in the next year or 2 that we're going to have to tackle for electric. So as long as rates stay at this decent rate increase, it's not a 30%, it's not a 10, it's not a 20, 5% is, I think, decent. I know a lot of people would disagree with that, and I understand it's not easy to see these increases every year. But wages go up every year. The cost of buying the power has not gone down. And so, yeah, so that's what I got for you. Sorry.
Thank you.
You bet.
Is there any public input on Bill 4810?
09.
Okay. For the electrical. Kelly?
Collins,
Yes.
Brennan,
Yes.
Merle,
Yes.
Neese,
Yes.
Topliff.
Yes.
Bill 4810 first reading, an ordinance increasing sanitation rates for customers of the city of West Plains, Missouri.
Motion to consider Bill 4810 first reading.
I'll second.
Gentleman has his hand up. I just had a question with respect to the electric rates. Have there been any,
Sir, if you could come up to the podium.
sorry.
Yep.
That's all right.
Sorry about that. Has there been any kind of evaluation or study as to what's causing that? It's like, is there like a high increased demand or?
It's what we're paying, I believe.
No, I understand it is, but is there an increased demand? Are we seeing yearly, like a significant increased demand from year to year for electric? Are people using more or?
Shane in the back, can't see. So, yep, he was, we can get an answer to that question for you, David. I haven't seen the latest numbers on increased usage. But we do pay as part of the Southwest Power Pool. So even if we haven't seen increased usage in West Plains, we are still paying for rate increases based on system demand. So if the demand is higher, we have to contribute our share for those as well. So we have very little control over the contract rates of that. If everybody used less electricity, we would see more stabilization in that. But
yeah,
we're part of a community of that. So
I understand and support that. I'm assuming that, I know for a fact that a lot of that unfortunately is waste, people not turning off the lights when they leave the room and stuff like that. So I wanted to ask to see if there's kind of evaluation as to see what portion of that is toward waste.
Yeah,
or,
we can,
you know what I mean?
I can check with our utilities director this week and see what kind of response we can get. And I
Okay.
can share
All right.
that with
Thank
council
you.
next month. Thank you.
Sorry if I didn't see your hands. But
Can you please state your name?
My name is Ryan Hughes. I do have a question about the utility rate increase. Do we know if there is any correlation to Meta's new data center that went in Kansas City having an effect on the rate increase that we're paying for our pool. I'm seeing a lot of media source talk about the new data centers that are opening up all over the country are increasing utility rate usage for all kinds of people. Because the data centers are getting backdoor subsidies. That's probably nothing to do with the city level, but do we know if that new data center that just went online end of last year, beginning of this year, might be causing the rate increases that we're seeing?
It's interesting.
It is a good question, yeah.
Pool.
Yeah, I'll have to check to see what geography in the country the Southwest Power Pool consists of, and if it includes Kansas City, there's potential that that could be a factor as well. But I'd say by and large, costs, continue to go up. I think we see as wages go up, there's tends to be a correlation to fees and things that go up as well. So, but by and
Right.
large, yeah, by far our biggest expense in our municipal budget is purchasing power for the community. So.
And that is a very big concern for a lot of the community, I think, going forward, is that we are paying for the power that we are using as much as possible and trying not to pay for the power that the data centers are using, that they're paying their fair share.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, which is why, again, to educate council and the community and the public as well, that's why we've gone through the generator rebuild for the first generation unit. To be able to help in those peak times when the demand is so high, we can run that generation unit to help offset at least our community's costs to pay those bills. You'll remember a few years ago, we had a pretty cold winter with a long spell of snaps. We did not see the impact on our customers' rates that other communities around us did, because we had the ability to generate that power to cover the demand for our area. So yeah, that's
is there a
Yeah,
resource where I can look up some more information
yeah,
about
I would
the
check,
generator?
I would look up Southwest Power Pool. And their information is available online. It's got maps and it'll explain the electric process, how the electricity gets made and where it gets spent.
What about the generator specifically that we're upgrading? What does it
Mhm.
run off of? Where is it at? Like
Yeah.
that kind of information?
Yeah.
Is there a resource to be able to?
I
learn
can,
more about that?
if you want to leave your contact information, or, we can follow up, at the end, but we do have 2 generation units that are on, the top of the hill over here. We call it on Old Airport Road.
Yeah.
One of them is currently being
Across from the
rebuilt. So that's where
sanitation.
that- Yep,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Thank you.
Brian, if you want to leave your number here.
I apologize, but I don't see your hand just stand up. I'll see y'all.
Great, thank you. All right. Bill 4810. Is that where I'm at? Yeah. First reading. An ordinance increasing sanitation rates for customers of the city of West Plains, Missouri. Jessica already motioned. Collins did a second. That's where we're.
Is there any input for Bill 4810? The sanitation rates? Okay, Kelly.
Collins,
Yes.
Grennan,
Yes.
Merle,
Yes,
Neese,
Yes.
Topliff.
Yes.
Bill 4811, first reading, an ordinance approving the adoption of a fee schedule for certain city services and approvals by the city of West Plains, Missouri.
Sorry, motion to consider Bill 4811 first reading.
I'll second.
Hi, so this year as part of our budget process, we went back through our revenues and revisited the fees that are being charged. I know that the schedule that was attached looks really messy because I tried to highlight in yellow each of the cells where we're changing a rate. So that it would be easier for you guys to define or to see at a glance kind of what's changing and what isn't. I believe that we walked through a lot of these items during our proposed budget meeting on September 15th, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you might have had. I know that we're also going to discuss business licenses later today. And so those changes will be incorporated, and I'll take all the yellow stuff and all the strike throughs, I'll clean it up for the second reading so it's nice and clean.
So everybody understand it.
Yeah, that too.
Any questions? We have public input on Bill 4811. Okay, Kelly.
Collins,
Yes.
Grennan,
Yes.
Merle,
yes,
Neese,
Yes.
Topliff.
Yes.
Bill 4812, first reading. An ordinance of the city of West Plains, Missouri, amending chapter 2, article 2, division 1, section 2-34C of the city of West Plains Municipal Code relating to public addresses to council.
Motion to consider Bill 4812 first reading.
Second.
Dan, are you covering this one?
I certainly can.
Okay.
Let me see. Yep, this item, just generally, we're in the process of going through our municipal code just to look at areas where we can improve efficiency and time at council meetings. Just as a reminder, state law doesn't require municipalities to have public comment during their council meetings. Most cities, though, allow that because they want to hear from residents, and this is the one time when all the council members are here to hear from everybody. But if we have issues that potentially draw a lot of speakers, we want to make sure that everybody has sufficient time to have their voices heard. So in reviewing the code, we're making a slight change to chapter 2, section 2-34C that will basically allow 5 minutes per speaker with additional time that can be given by the presiding officer. So the mayor pro tem, if the mayor is not here, if somebody wants to ask for additional time, they can be granted that. But it's just a general way to, I think, be respectful of everybody's time to make sure that that there aren't people that are dominating, the meeting, and we're able to conduct the business of the city as voters expect us to. Happy to answer any questions.
I like how we've changed the procedure here since, now we're actually asking for public input before each vote. If I paid attention, and it's good to have the citizens interacting with this, and so we know where we're at, get things done, so. No questions. Is there any public input on Bill 4812? Okay, Kelly?
Collins,
Yes.
Grennan,
Yes.
Merle,
Yes.
Nice,
Yes.
Topliff.
Yes.
All right, no council actions, so city administrator report, Sam?
Thank you, Kelly. Just a couple of items for you. We have a reception at the library this Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. It's sort of an open house, but it's to recognize our library for receiving the 2025 Missouri Library of the Year Award. So kudos to Dr. Greg Carter and the staff over there. They've done a tremendous job improving the programming options that are available. The usage through membership cards has spiked. I think I saw is up 27%, some crazy numbers. So just wanted to invite the public to come out and celebrate that with us. So again, from 5 to 6 on Wednesday at the library, we invite people to come out. And then another item I have for you, it's a little bit on the horizon, but we are going to be rolling out a new online portal or online payment vendor for those who pay utilities online. Our current contract expires at the end of November, and we're going to switch gears to a different provider who also happens to be the billing agency that we use for all of our internal software. So they've brought that online bill pay service in-house. Will result in a slight savings to residents who choose to pay their bills online with a credit card, but hopefully in the future we'll be able to roll out some other online payment options for other city services as well. So I just wanted to give heads up to the residents. We have and we'll send out some information to those who do pay online, encouraging them, letting them know they'll have to unfortunately sign up again for a new website. But once we get that in there, it should roll much more smoothly, I think, on our end and on their end as well. So happy to answer any questions you guys have. Otherwise, that's all I have for you.
Right, on to citizen comments. Each citizen will have 5 minutes to address council. When you come to the podium, please state your name and home address or place of business. And first up, we have Jacob Garrett.
You expect the lawyer to say anything in 5 minutes, right? I'm gonna do it this time. Just fine to come back, or if I get to come back. When I had asked Kelly to put us on the agenda, it was actually at the request of the advisory board, which some of you may not even know that we have a West Plains Advisory Airport Board. It compiles myself, John Reed, who's here with me, is a 17,000-hour pilot, military, air evac, state of Missouri pilot. I mean, he's done it all. And John Nason, who used to be a city councilman, and then Dr. Mark Day. So taking myself out of that, it's a pretty good group. When I started to, so when I got the agenda off here, I thought, here's a perfect example of what's happened. City Council, citizen comment, Jacob Garrett, West Plains Municipal Airport. We've not had the West Plains Municipal Airport since 1985. Okay, it's West Plains Regional Airport. That's how much the city of West Plains has cared about that place. My dad was a pilot when the idea came that we're going to build a West Plains Regional Airport. And he said, son, when the West Plains Airport moves from downtown West Plains, we'll forget about it. They did. They started that by hiring Jack Bowman, which means nothing ever happened. We just stayed there north of town. Then it got even worse when you put Brian Mitchell in charge. Never was a Brian Mitchell fan, but that had nothing to do with the fact that you had the street superintendent who was one of the busiest members of the city. Then we gave him an airport that's 12 miles north of West Plains and said, go do something with it. He cared nothing about that airport, knew nothing about airplanes. Now, the best thing that's happened in a long time is you fired Chris Henson, who has some care. The bad thing that you did is you made him transportation director and put him all of these responsibilities of the cities as well. He ain't going to have any more time than Brian Mitchell did. But he cares. But he doesn't have the time problem. So, and I'm going to watch my time. I'm not here. I mean, everybody gets nervous when they see me coming. Okay, for my wife, she doesn't. But most everybody else, they think, oh my God, what has he got to say? What's he going to do? And how big a ruckus is he going to raise? None. Not this time. Okay. I want this council to care about the West Plains Regional Airport. That's it. And the number one care thing that can be done is to hire somebody that has experience in running airports, and that's what they do. Solely limited to the city of West Plains and the West Plains Regional Airport. Because what I didn't know, which I learned from John, the plan was when West Plains Regional Airport was built, Mountain View was going to shut theirs down, so was Willow Springs. Whoops, that didn't happen. But we still do have a really nice FBO and facility north of town. But the caring part has been the fact that the Brian Mitchells and those predecessors didn't go out and look to do anything for funding. J Aviation, now what are their new company, are a bunch of clowns. Absolutely a bunch of clowns. Sam may like him, okay? That guy's an idiot. All right, everybody I've asked about J Aviation, they said, until you get rid of those clowns. And this isn't people that are trying to promote anything. Okay, till you get rid of them, you're going to get nothing done, okay? Nobody's made any application. How long did you say I got, Kelly?
2 minutes.
All right. Please care, okay? Because when I start coming back, I'm going to go about it not so pleasant. Because a lot of things could be done out there. I know the city doesn't have the money to go out there. I'd love brand new hangars. That sounds great. Okay, you don't have the money to do that. I understand that. We budgeted money for repairs, but they never happened. And then I found out that, well, we've got to reserve them for the Brian Mitchell fuel farm that we're about to build, because West Plains over the last 4 years has banked $585,000 from federal money. Okay, they all want to put it toward a fuel farm. You've got a life safety issue out there. We got a pilot damn near got killed 2 years ago. Almost got killed with his wife and his daughter because of deer on our runway. Everybody except J Aviation has told me if you use the magic words life safety, you'll get a security fence. That's all you got to tell the feds. But nobody does that. Nobody does it because nobody cares. Just want you to care. Because I will be asked to put back on here again. We're going to see if we're caring. Because somebody's going to get killed. And the city of West Plains is going to be a party to that lawsuit because we know about the problem. I got a lot more to say, but I'm finished with you. Okay? Please, care.
Thank you. Up next, Mike Burgess. Mike, please state your name and home address or place of business.
My name's Mike Burgess. Do I need to give the street, the house number or just the street?
Streets.
8th Street here in town. Thank you, Mayor, members of council, for hearing something of interest. I'm not against protests, but I am against where those protests are held. And one of those is the last several weekends on Saturdays. The last weekend was the King protest, anti-King protest. There was a safety concern. There were people involved with that were in the streets or basically along Porter and Broadway. So it's also at the Veterans Memorial. I'm retired military. People are trampling all over that area, and that should be almost hallowed ground, so to speak, because we are honoring the veterans. And there's also the POW MIA that's just south of that area. So I believe that that needs to be an area that needs to be protected by the city council in the city, that no protests are held in that vicinity. And to give you a little bit of a better idea, the entrance that goes into to the pool will say east of the entrance or back towards Porter Wagner. And then from that area to, I believe it's Cass Avenue or Cass Street, there's a street light there. No protest should be in that area because there's the bell, there's the POW, MIA flag, and then we have the other flags and then the bricks that have veterans' names and dates of birth or services and stuff like that on it. So those are my two concerns, is that we need to protect that area from individuals that don't care. We need to protect the people, not only at the protest, but that are driving, so we don't have accidents and people killed in those areas. My suggestion would be then from that entrance into the pool to the west, so back up towards where the pavilion's located, they can protest in that area. They can protest to the south of that light pole to, I think it's Webster Street, or where you turn to go into the Armory, where was it paddleball or tennis courts used to be there. So they can protest there, but they also need to stay back from the street. Because like I said, somebody's going to get killed. And the veterans need to be, that the honor of their service and sacrifice needs to be protected. I think the council, I hope that you will do something. With that, a quick thing to that would be to have permits, that people have to come to City Hall to get a permit to hold a protest or demonstration. Can be a small fee to that to cover the clerical side of it and the paper and all that. That way also you have accountability as who's in charge of that protest. If something goes wrong, I need to go to the mayor. Because you got the permit, Mayor. Sorry. I'm picking on the mayor and I shouldn't do that.
Okay, Mike.
But I just hope the council will consider that and protect that area. And thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, up next is David Neal.
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to explore the possibility of suspending minimum utility rates. For instance, we know what they are, water and electric. Why should a resident pay more than what they use every month? Can anyone answer that, please?
The minimum cost there is just for us to keep the door open. That's why a minimum for each one of us is said, I mean.
But don't we already pay taxes for, things like that?
Cover a utility bill.
But I don't know what the, like, for instance, the water bill, the minimum every month is like 14 or 15 bucks, but what if you use less than that? Why would you pay more than what you use?
I can follow up with him with some information.
Yeah. He'll do the breakdown of what the basic operating cost for the water department is.
Because I'm not the only one concerned about this. I'm not speaking just specifically for myself. But in relation to this, with use of city utilities, resources, electric, water, the case may be, I in particular am very passionate about this because I have a degree in environmental science, and I would like to help anyone that may be, concerned about their, the size of the bill. I mean, it's very simple. It's like, for instance, unplugging things that you're not actually using, saves a huge amount of electric and stuff like that. But we all know as well, the electric is the biggest concern. And with the summers getting longer and more intense and the winter's getting shorter, you know, people are going to be obviously using their air conditioners more, which uses up the bulk of the electric. And like, I was gone for the first half of August. And when I saw my bill for August, I was like, my goodness, you know, why is my electric bill so high? Never running my electric or never running my AC, you know, below 78 degrees and only doing it at night. I mean, I was really pretty shocked it was as high as it was. Like I said, because I keep, you know, everything pretty much without, except for my refrigerator unplugged while I'm not actually using it. But nevertheless, like I said, water, and I think water and sewage, you know, uses up, you know, that's about $30 a month. But if my usage is just below that, then it just seems like.
I think the basic fee covers operating, not the actual service. I mean, we have to pay the wages of everyone and then the facility fee. So that is spent through each person. So that's why there's a basic fee. And then on top of that, if there's a minimum amount you can use that covers that amount. And then if you go over that, is when you start getting charged for it. So.
All right. I'm happy to follow. Like I said, I'm for any, I mean, for the city council itself or for residents of the community, I'm happy to help and lend advice if I can to help with the expense, because I know that people are ignorant a lot of times to their daily habits that cause, you know, their utilities to be so much higher.
If I could just add to your comment, David, we will also be rolling out an app through the website, well, actually through the website, but through our provider that reads our electric meters, to where residents can sign up for free to get access to monitor their usage on electric and water on a daily basis. So to your point, they'll be able to see for themselves, if I unplug these appliances, how much does that reduce my usage that's spent? So I think your comments are in line a lot with what we've asked, you know, residents in terms of insulating their homes, you know, providing dollars available for that through different agencies. So yeah, I'd be happy to follow up with you more on what we're doing in that regard as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll move on then. The business of TR Fitness, specifically which stands for is Team Respect Fitness, sanctioning non-disabled people to park in handicap spots there. Not only do I know that's against the law, I'm particularly passionate about this because not only am I a veteran, I'm currently serving. And I have comrades who have had their legs blown off and much worse, that are, I don't feel like their reputation and their sacrifice should be sullied by people that don't care. And so I would really appreciate the police department, the council, whoever needs to regulate on that business, saying it doesn't matter if it's private property, you're not allowed to do that. Thank you. To my next point, I've mentioned this before, and this is something that I'm not going to back off on. Why does the train need to blow its whistle in the city limits and within a mile of the city limits? Can anyone articulate that to me, please?
It's federal law. They're required to do that unless the intersections are designed in a way that they don't have to blow their horn. So
okay, I'm sensitive to that in some respects, but up to the point to where it compromises public health and safety, which it does. And I'm being completely unbiased and totally scientific about this. The human ear cannot withstand, without injury or damage, decibel and volume level that high. It just can't. I mean, so it is absolutely a health, safety, and welfare concern that this company, BNSF or whatever, is violating. I mean, it needs to stop because, like I said, it is a health, safety, and welfare concern. I don't know how else I can articulate it. And on top of that, why does it need to blow its whistle at the Independence intersection? There's been no traffic or anybody going through there since that construction project's been underway. Why is it still doing it there?
I believe until the overpass is complete, it's considered an open intersection.
Even though traffic can't go through there, or
yes, sir.
Be it foot or vehicle traffic?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have to have someone on, since we raised the harm, they have to have someone on site and monitor it when the trains go through. Their regulations are quite unique.
I just, I don't know. I think this should be explored more because, like I said, this is not like the annoyance of a dripping faucet. I mean, it is a health, safety, and welfare concern. It is. I mean, like I said, I'm being scientific, totally non-biased about it.
I believe we are working on a couple of
Yeah.
issues with them right now, so.
Yeah, our transportation director and I did have a meeting with BNSF a couple of weeks ago to talk about what we potentially can do at each of those intersections to make them safer so that the train doesn't have to blow the horn. So
Yeah.
we're getting some estimated costs. They told us about $700,000 per crossing. So we're trying to do some due diligence on whether that number is accurate and what we can do at potentially a lower cost to help that. So
Well, I mean, and I can understand totally if we didn't have drop arms or if this, hearing and feeling and seeing the train itself come, well in advance of an intersection. But it just, like I said, I just don't understand the whistle. It just seems completely unnecessary. All right. Some businesses operating in town, for instance, especially the Heights, Jimmy's Restaurant, Burger King, their parking lots, I mean, are like minefields. I mean, I understand they have city licenses and stuff like that, and it's maybe private property, but they have to, operate within safety standards as well. And these locations, the parking lots are, I can't even, drive through them anymore. They're too dangerous because of how extensive the damage to them is. Not to mention, not only property, but like streets itself, like the intersection, for example, of Thornburg and Lincoln.
That just happened.
And just up the hill from there on at the intersection of Jackson and Thornburg. So if you're headed west up the hill from St. Louis, there's, the pavement there is all marked at the peak of that hill. So you've hit it by the time you've seen it. You know what I mean? And it's in really bad shape. Not only that, but just in my opinion, St. Louis should be closed between 3rd Street and Broadway because of how damaged it is. I won't drive through there. It's just, the pavement is just in absolutely horrible condition. How could it, get to that extent? I'm sure, most of you are familiar with it, I guess. But,
Yeah.
And I understand city workers can't just, they can't just instantly do anything. Oh, by the way, I want to thank you all for filling in the old railroad tracks on Washington Avenue. They're like, what are they, 30, 40 feet north of the new ones? So whoever did that did a really good job.
They, one of the things there is on the website now, the city website, you can report potholes for us. Unfortunately, we don't see it all. I definitely see the Lincoln in Thornburg. I bumped through it this morning. It's real bad, but we just had that water leak the other day, which really exposed stuff. So if you see it, report it. We'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But the peak, like I said, that hill, I worry about that. Because if you're heading west from St. Louis up at the intersection of Jackson and Thornburg that's really bad.
And St. Louis Street, we're about to do some construction there, and that's why it's kind of fallen down on the list.
Yeah. And I'm assuming the creek and the railroad obviously lead to, that section of road being,
What we're
pretty well damaged.
Do the bridge.
Yeah.
But we held it off while we don't want to have the Bermuda Triangle construction there. So we're letting the one overpass before we take down the bridge on St. Louis Street. So that's kind of slowed things down.
So this is just more of like a friendly reminder, I guess, to city workers and maybe the Amish that then also, because this is who I've noticed. I'm not going on the offensive against anybody, but not giving way when they have lines of cars stacked up behind them. They just don't. For whatever reason, when they're going, 25, 30 miles an hour, when the speed limit's, maybe about twice that. They just, it's just holding up traffic but they just won't give way for whatever reason. I don't know if it's an issue of them not noticing, or whatever the case may be, but it's just, they just don't give way. And the last thing is, I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of former tenants of Grisham Properties, of this business trying to bilk undeserved money out of former tenants. Like myself, for example, they will not even, let me back up for a second. My last lease, no violations, no grievances, no complaints. I've always gotten along well with my neighbors. They will not tell me why they decided not to renew my lease. I'm given no information. They don't respond to correspondence, emails, whatever the case would be. And I'm not denying they're right. If they don't want somebody there, they don't have to renew their lease. However, the money is a situation that I am concerned about because they will not watch the move out video that I shot the 5 minutes before I turned my key in. They also canceled a work order for mold that I put in without even coming by the apartment to take a look at it. That's a direct assault on a tenant in violation of lease laws. So some kind of regulation, I mean, really needs to occur with this company because they don't have the right to do that. They don't. I mean, you don't victimize or try to bilk undeserved money out of former tenants, especially without giving them any kind of explanation of what it is they're saying that they owe. So I would appreciate, somebody looking into that. And I think that's it. Other than the only other thing I want to say that with any of these issues or that I brought up or with anybody else, I've devoted my life to service to my country and community. And so if there's something I can help out in the community, please let me know. I like I said, especially with my specific education in environmental science, that's something I'm particularly passionate about. So yeah, please let me know if I can help. I would like to.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
That's all we have, Mayor.
Oh, good. Council, we're all wearing pink to remind everyone it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and with no further business, may God bless, and we are adjourned.